South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Headliners. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. Pushback continues on Florida's newest controversial bill, which targets illegal immigration. Local immigration activists say the legislation creates fear in communities and impacts Florida's economy. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor is talking to farm workers in Homestead who are already feeling that.
Yo pienso irme de aquí con mis hijas porque yo
Dolores Lucas says she will leave the state of Florida, where she has lived and worked for 6 years. In tears, she told me this is painful, what she and her 5 children are facing. If you leave, where would you be going?
No sé dónde puedo ir todavía.
She says she does not know where will she move to. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna stay. Me voy a quedar.
Judith Peralta has been in the U.S. for 10 years. After her native Mexico, this is the place that she calls home. If you get sick and if you have to go to a hospital, what are you going to do?
Esa es la pregunta.
She says that's the toughest question being asked, and she may have to actually choose to do home remedies.
Both of these women say that fear has been a normal part of the undocumented community even before this new law approved by Governor Ron DeSantis. However, they do say also that as we get closer to July 1st, they expect things to get much worse for them and for their employers. In Homestead, I'm Yvonne Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
Meanwhile, a controversial law signed by Governor DeSantis will block public universities from using federal or state money for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. But it's getting some very serious pushback. CBS News Miami's Gabriel Arzola combed through the new law and is breaking down what it means.
Now on the chopping block are programs of diversity, equity, and inclusion, also called DEI. The governor signed a bill Monday that would stop public universities from funding these programs with state and federal money. But why? For background, according to the DEI website at FIU, it says they have funded over 40 scholarships and strive to make FIU a more inclusive experience with student groups that cater to Black, Hispanic, Jewish, LGBT, and the Canadian community.
Different offices that assist students with getting used to the university environment.
Criminal and civil rights attorney Melba Pearson says these programs are aimed to help students succeed. The bill states each college will have to review their curriculums and must look into topics based on theories that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequities. Pearson says college is a place to learn and discuss all topics and says this is only a disservice to students.
The reality is, you're going to have a variety of students on any university campus. You would want them all to feel welcome. It means more money in Florida's economy. It means more students graduating successfully from Florida universities, which means more alumni throughout the country, which again increases our standing as a university system.
Gabrielle Arzola, CBS News, Miami.
Artificial intelligence and security continues to be on the forefront of the minds of lawmakers and parents. However, scientists think this technology could secure game-changing education for homes short on money and support for children. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward looks into it.
Look past jogging, jumping, working robots. Developers almost dance over generative artificial intelligence, the kind turning smartphones.
I just asked it, is it okay to call my CEO a bro?
Into conversation-starting wingman.
What if he is super cash?
Or, as tech builder Stephanie Silvestre believes, it could reshape education.
If low-income and low-resource areas don't jump on this, the achievement gap is going to get so much bigger.
The former Subway and Burger King IT guru bet her career on it. Silvestre co-founded Avatar Buddy, an app that uses generative AI to offer users self-help. One of their targets are children with no means for tutors. It answers texts for help writing paragraphs. It shows steps to solve math equations. Other more well-known programs can do the same. They also offer emotional support.
It's just kind of like that positive reinforcement that sometimes people don't have because their parents are too busy just trying to make ends meet. OpenAI sells ChatGPT for $20 a month. That's a very, very reasonable price. If you were to go hire a tutor or a personal coach, $20 might get you about 15 minutes.
Those studying AI at Miami-Dade College and the University of Miami see risks too, especially for people who refuse to use it.
You risk being left behind. From now on, it's going to be a part of our lives, and it can help make people more effective at what they want to do.
Without international regulations, cross-border data security is on the table for G7 talks in Japan. But with these chats, privacy is no small concern.
If people are typing into those models, who owns that conversation?
It's why Sylvestra's group allows users to delete chat histories. But the future is their focus, and they see no reason to change course. In Wynwood, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
Coming up, May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. One of our own here at CBS News Miami tells us about her own diagnosis and journey to recovery.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back to our show, and thank you for watching. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. CBS News Miami is committed to examining mental health issues and solutions. Right now, we're focusing on a disturbing new report about student stress and distress since the pandemic. At the same time, a first-of-its-kind initiative here teams the Miami Heat and Florida Blue on something called a mindfulness sanctuary. CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho explains.
Nature sounds and themes bring nature inside at Miami Carroll City Senior High, a welcoming environment for students and staff. The Miami Heat team up with Florida Blue to champion its first mindfulness sanctuary in schools.
Have a peaceful moment, gather your collective thoughts, be able to talk.
Heat legend Glenn Rice discusses the value of it for students. This sanctuary comes at the perfect time. CDC findings show increased stress and distress among adolescents since 2019, a year before the pandemic.
Let's face it, I think there's more doom and gloom today than there was in the 90s.
Dr. Dewan serves as Vice President for Behavioral Health at Guidewell Florida Blue. He's worked in this field for more than 3 decades.
You name the data source, it's clear distress in youth is rising, hope is reducing.
The Thursday report shows increased drug overdoses and suicide-related behaviors in boys and girls between 12 and 17 years of age from last fall to the fall of 2019.
And drug experimentation is killing or causing overdose visits to the ER.
Do you think for young people, social media can be more destructive than maybe beneficial at times based on your experiences and what you're seeing?
Detrimental impact to excessive exposure. And because the psychological development in youth is really about, am I good or not? Am I capable or not?
The positive side from the report is that emergency room visits for mental health conditions in young people are down from fall of 2022 to fall of 2021.
I'm very impressed by their courage and their resilience.
And Dr. Dewan tells me that today's youth is experiencing a far different environment than in the last century, and adds that adults have an essential role to play to help create peaceful spaces like this mindfulness sanctuary to help young people cope and have mental well-being. Joe Gorcho, CBS News, Miami.
Very good to see. Well, May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. With over 5 million cases diagnosed every year, it is the most common form of cancer in the country. Part of the mission in May is to speak up about the dangers of skin cancer and provide information to save lives. With that in mind, CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez is sharing the story of her own skin cancer diagnosis.
How'd we do this week?
Much better today.
Did much better today?
But getting better wasn't as simple as answering that question.
It was not an easy process. I became depressed looking at myself in the mirror with a big scar across my face, and that was my main concern. What am I going to look like?
The tsunami of emotions and thoughts brought on several months ago after receiving the news no one wants to hear. I had skin cancer. It all started when I noticed this tiny bump on my face. It had no texture, no different coloring, but it wouldn't go away. And that's when I knew something wasn't right. I immediately went to see Dr. Dowd at Miami Dermatology and Laser Institute.
You had the most common cancer to not only affect the skin, but to affect people, period. It's called a basal cell skin cancer, or basal cell carcinoma.
I was so surprised when I got the outcome because it was something that was so tiny, and when they said you have skin cancer, I was like, what?
Basal cells tend to be very slow growing, but they've got nothing better to do but that, grow. And if they grow for long enough, they can get down into the fat underneath our skin, the muscle, the bone, very, 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 very rarely. And unfortunately, I've seen this, they can actually spread through the body.
Thankfully, I went just in time, and although it looked small on the outside, it had spread on the inside. Dr. Dow determined the Mohs procedure was the best option.
It's named after the surgeon who made the technique. And what it allows us to do is look circumferentially around the tissue as well as deep into it to make sure that there are no skin cancer cells left.
Fortunately, every cell was removed, but I was left with this.
As we discussed, you know, that first week out, especially when that bandage comes off, it can be a little alarming. But like I told you, this is a healing process.
And so the healing process began. And 2 weeks later, after my first laser treatment and great makeup, I was back on the air.
Important consumer alert for parents.
With a fading scar and a big smile.
At the end of the day, I say, it doesn't matter. You took it all out.
You know what?
So no more, right?
That's the thing. No more cancer.
That's
Cancer-free. Cancer-free. Boom.
Well, it was quite the journey, but I am so grateful. I am doing great, as you can see. And I hope my story inspires all of you to take care of your skin. Wear plenty of sunblock. Make it your best friend. And of course, if you see something on your body that just doesn't look right, get it checked out. Maribel Rodriguez, CBS News, Miami.
Such an important message, especially here in Florida. Great job, Maribel. Coming up, from trauma to triumph, a special day as accident survivors reunite with the teams who saved their lives.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back, and thanks for watching. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. Downtown Hollywood is getting a makeover. It's been more than 3 decades since the last one. The improvements come as more people are moving into downtown. CBS News Miami's Ted Scout is in downtown Hollywood with more.
It's a week into construction on a downtown stretch of Hollywood Boulevard at Dixie Highway, and businesses are feeling it.
It has been a little rough because the sales are slowing down, right? Because we have the construction over here.
The Villamil family owns Tasted Gelato and Cafeteria. With parking temporarily gone out front, business is down, at least for now, but they're optimistic it will pay off later.
Right now it's not really good for us, but in the future it's going to be way better for our business.
They're actually removing the old water line.
Susan Goldberg is the deputy director of the Hollywood CRA. She explains downtown hasn't had a facelift in 36 years.
Since 1987, there have been minimal improvements, but this is the major improvement.
Crews are replacing old infrastructure and burying power lines. Drawings show plans to increase space for walking and outdoor seating.
Right now, the cafe zone comes to about here. So the cafe zone is going to extend all the way here.
Why the big push? More than 1,000 residential units are coming online within the next year and a half, with more on the way. A proposed train stop is expected too. All that means more people living here and visiting the area.
We're expecting that people that live here, they could have a quick breakfast down here, take the train to work, come back, and enjoy the boulevard. Also, people that want to just come out here maybe for dinner or come for a weekend festival will have the added benefit of being able to take the train.
The revamp will take away 50 parking spots, pushing visitors to nearby garages. The goal is that the $14.5 million project will draw more people to downtown.
I think it's putting Hollywood on the map to be the place to live because everything will be here.
Now, projects like this don't happen overnight. It's going to take at least 1.5 years till this is completed, so it should be done sometime in the fall of next year. In downtown Hollywood, Ted Scout, CBS News Miami.
And finally, touching reunions at Memorial Regional Hospital and many emotional moments as well, all part of the annual Trauma Awareness Day. CBS News Miami's Jacqueline Quinn shares us with why there was such a cause for celebration.
Jacob into the trauma bay. They said they actually didn't even know that he was in the car initially because he was
thrown to the front part of the car.
December 19, 2022, the day Jacob's life forever changed.
We had an event for my nephew that night, and she wasn't showing up.
Not too long after, Jacob's dad, Anthony Estrada, got a call from the hospital.
Saying that my wife had been in an accident and that my son was in the hospital waiting for me, so I figured it was okay. Maybe it was just a little accident. She's just getting bandaged up, and Jacob's waiting for me in the hospital when I get there.
When he arrived, he found out Jacob was the one in serious trouble.
And my wife had passed away.
The deadly crash happened just a week before Christmas. Police say a teen without a license was driving the car that crashed into the one Jacob and his mother was in.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Jacob is here. They were able to save Jacob and bring him home safely. He's got the best guardian angel he can ever have, which is his mom watching him over him.
A tragic story, but one that Jacob's dad wants to share, to celebrate all the people who helped his son for Trauma Awareness Week. He was one among dozens, including Golden Beach Sergeant Joseph Batista, who was shot 2 weeks ago during a chase to catch a suspect that had bailed out of a stolen car.
Well, at the moment, it didn't hurt. The adrenaline kept me moving, but now it's very painful. It's because it broke my bone.
Officers helped him put a tourniquet on his arm, and he was later taken to the hospital.
Super grateful on all of them. The staffing was great. They really took care of me.
And Anthony Estrada is so thankful to everyone who treated Jacob because he knows his wife would have done the same.
My wife also was a nurse. She was an ICU nurse in Jackson Hospital.
Today, as he's honoring others for their life-saving work, he's also honoring his wife, Jacob's mom. In Hollywood, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, CBS News, Miami.
And thank you so much for joining us this half hour in Headliners. And as always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. Make it a great day.